For centuries, Earth was silent. The planet that once shook the stars with human strength had gone dark. No ships left its orbit. No voices carried across the void. The galaxy believed Earth was dead. Alien empires spread across the stars without fear. They claimed planets, built cities, and ruled millions. To them, Earth was nothing but dust, a memory of a species too emotional, too fragile, too broken to survive. They laughed in their grand halls. "Humans are gone," one reptilian king said. "They were weak," hissed an insectoid emperor. "They will never return," declared a machine overlord, its voice echoing like iron. And so, the galaxy moved on. But silence is never forever. In the deep dark of space, on a night when the stars burned bright, one sound broke through. A signal. Small. Almost too small to notice. But it came not from alien fleets, not from wandering ships, it came from Earth. At first, the Council thought it was an error. A ghost transmission. Something old, left behind in the ruins of humanity. But the signal grew stronger. Clearer. It carried a voice. A human voice. Calm. Strong. Unshaken by centuries of silence. The words were simple. Only three. "We are coming back." The galaxy froze. For a moment, every empire went quiet. Fleets stopped their drills. Markets froze mid-trade. Leaders stared at the message in disbelief. Humans. Coming back. Impossible. And yet, the voice played again. Not desperate. Not weak. But steady. Confident. "We are coming back." The reptilian king slammed his clawed hand on the table. "This is a lie. A trick. Humans are extinct." But deep inside, he remembered something. His great-grandfather once fought humans. And he knew how hard it was to kill even one. The insectoid emperor laughed, his mandibles clicking in unease. "Even if they come, they will be crushed. We have grown stronger. We have ruled while they slept." But his eyes shifted. He remembered old battle scrolls, stories of human soldiers who never surrendered. The machine overlord spoke last, its cold metal face unreadable. "If this is true, then the galaxy is not ready." For the first time in centuries, fear touched them. Because every alien ruler remembered the history of Earth. They remembered the war that shook empires. How humans, with small fleets and fragile ships, fought enemies far greater. They remembered human tactics, fast, clever, unpredictable. They remembered human rage. The galaxy had forgotten Earth's silence. But it had never forgotten Earth's fury. Now, the silence was broken. From hidden corners of the stars, whispers spread. Traders spoke of human ships spotted near the old colonies. Soldiers whispered of banners painted with Earth's blue and green. Refugees said they saw fleets gathering beyond the rim. The Council dismissed these as lies, yet unease spread like fire. If humans truly returned, nothing would be the same. Why? Because humans were different. Other species built empires with caution. They obeyed rules. They followed old traditions. But humans broke rules. They created new paths where none existed. They fought not for gold, not for power, but for survival. And nothing in the galaxy is more dangerous than a species fighting to survive. The Council gathered once more in their shining chamber of glass and light. They replayed the human signal again and again. The voice never changed. Always calm. Always steady. "We are coming back." One alien ruler trembled as he listened. He had never fought humans, but his ancestors told him stories. Stories of men and women who fought with fire in their eyes. Stories of battles where humans lost everything but still refused to surrender. He whispered under his breath, "If they return, nothing will stop them." The Council ordered fleets to watch the old human systems. Armies were prepared. Walls of ships were built. But the fear could not be hidden. Because they knew the truth. The galaxy had grown used to peace, used to order. Empires ruled by fear and tradition. But humans brought chaos. They were a storm. And storms cannot be controlled. Far away, on the blue planet itself, something stirred. Cities long abandoned lit up once more. Towers rose from broken ruins. Lights shone across continents that had been dark for centuries. Humanity was not gone. They had only been waiting. And now, the wait was over. The message repeated, carried across every star, reaching every empire, every world, every ship. The voice of Earth. We are coming back. And in that moment, the galaxy understood a terrible truth. The silence of Earth was never weakness. It was preparation. And now, the galaxy would face the return of the one enemy it could never stop. The Galactic Council sat inside their great hall of glass that once shook the stars. It was a place older than empires, where rulers from every star gathered. On that day, the chamber was filled with voices. The galaxy believed dozens of alien leaders spoke at once. Alien empires with spread across the stars without fear. With shining wings. They claimed reptilian kings built covered in scales and ruled and machine lords whose eyes glowed with cold Earth was nothing but dust. Normally, a memory of a species too emotional, borders, too fragile, too broken to survive. No one spoke of wealth in their grand halls. They spoke only of one thing. One reptilian king said. The signal had reached them all. An insectoid a message. Simple they will never terrifying, declared a machine overlord, its voice echoing like some iron. Tried to laugh. And so, the galaxy moved growled on. The reptilian but silence king. Is never his voice forever. Was rough, in the deep dark sharp. Of space. Humans are long gone. The stars burned bright. Their world was empty. Sound broke through. Their fleets destroyed. Small, but his claws tapped almost the table, too small fast to notice. And nervous. But it came not from alien fleets. His great-grandfather had fought against human soldiers. At first, he remembered how hard it was to kill even one of them. Transmission. The insectoid emperor twitched his wings. Left behind in the ruins of humanity. He hissed. But the signal grew stronger. We rule the stars now. It carried a voice. They have no fleets strong enough. A human voice. No armies large enough. Strong. But the words sounded weak by centuries of silence. He too remembered history. The words were simple. His people had once fought humans on a far-off colony. We are coming back. The humans were outnumbered 10 to 1. For a moment, and still, every empire went quiet. The machine overlord stopped their drills. Its voice was froze mid-trade, echoing through the chamber like the message in disbelief. Do not lie to yourselves. Humans. If this signal is real, impossible, then the galaxy is in danger. The voice the chamber again, fell silent, not desperate, because deep inside, not weak, they all knew the same truth. Confident, humans were not like other species. The reptilian king slammed his clawed hand on the table. They never surrendered. This is a lie. Where others followed rules, humans broke them. But deep inside, others fled, he remembered something. His great-grandfather once fought humans, chaotic, and he knew how hard it was to kill. Even remembered the old wars. The insectoid emperor laughed. They remembered how his mandibles clicking in unease, made of fragile ships, even if they come, still managed to destroy empires far larger. We have grown stronger. They remembered battles where humans refused to retreat, but his eyes even when outnumbered. He remembered old human rage, stories of human soldiers in the chamber who never surrendered. No one dared to speak. Spoke last. No one dared to admit it out loud. Unreadable. But they were all afraid. Then the galaxy is not ready. One young ruler broke for the first time in centuries. She was small. Fear touched her skin glowing because like every alien ruler remembered the history of Earth. What if they remembered the war that shook empires in their silence? How humans, the questions cut through the hall like a blade. Ships. Strong enemies far greater. The council had spent centuries growing comfortable. Fast. Their fleets were unpredictable. Yes, they remembered their armies were vast. The galaxy had forgotten Earth's silence. They ruled by fear, but it had never forgotten Earth's fury. They fought only weak enemies. The silence was broken. From hidden corners had spent their silence. Whispers spread. What if they had built human ships spotted near the old colonies? What if they had forged themselves into something greater than blue and green? The reptilian king growled, said they saw fleets gathering beyond the rim. The council dismissed these as lies. Yet the chamber exploded with noise. If humans truly returned, some in anger, would be the same. Some in fear. Why? Plans were because argued. Humans were different. Armies were promised. Other species built empires were offered with caution. But beneath they the obeyed noise, rules. One truth remained. They followed old traditions. They were terrified. But humans were not like them. They created new paths where none existed. Were clever. They fought not for gold, defeat into victory, but for survival. And above all, and nothing in the galaxy is more dangerous than a species slammed his claws against the floor. The council gathered once more in their shining chamber before they rise again. If they replayed the human signal again, will never control them. The voice the machine overlord only stared with its cold, glowing eyes. Always steady. It is already too late. One alien ruler trembled as he listened. Humanity has not never fought humans. But his ancestors told him stories. The words hung in the chamber like men and women who fought with fire in their eyes. The rulers imagined stories of battles where humans lost everything, human soldiers marching once more. Human voices whispered under his breath. If they returned, they remembered how humans looked in battle. The council ordered fleets to watch the old human systems with resolve. Armies were prepared. How a single human soldier could turn fear into fire. But the fear could not be hidden. The council knew what it meant. Because they knew the truth. The galaxy would change. The galaxy had grown already. Used to peace. Reports were spreading. Traders whispered of human ships and tradition beyond the rim. But humans, refugees spoke of colonies once dead, now lit with life. And storms cannot be controlled. Told stories of banners far away with Earth's on the blue planet itself. Every story carried the same message. Cities long abandoned, not lit up once more. Humanity was not gone. Rose from broken Humanity was coming. Lights shone across continents that had been dark for centuries. No celebration. Humanity was not gone. No laughter. They had only been waiting. Only fear. The wait was over. When the rulers left the chamber, the message repeated. Their faces were carried across every voices low, reaching every empire, spoke of building every more world, fleets, every ship. Others spoke of making peace. We are coming back. None of them truly believed and in that moment, stop what was the galaxy understood in the dark, a terrible truth. One truth echoed the silence through their minds. Earth was never weakness. Humans had been silent. It was for preparation. And silence was the never galaxy weakness. Would face the return of the one enemy it could never stop. The wait was over. The galaxy had ruled freely for too long. And the storm that was humanity had returned. The question was no longer if humans would come. The question was, who would survive when they did? The Galaxy Council sat inside their great hall of weeks that once rumors spread was a place older than Empire. Traders spoke of no ship ever still the rim. On that day, reported chamber was filled with moving in the galaxy. Dozens of alien refugees swore they saw banners painted spread across the stars without fear. Shining wings, they claimed many distant kings built cities, but then machine lords who guided them with on a cold morning but dust. In the dark empty of a species too emotional to appear, too fragile. They came not as today. No one spoke well in their grand halls, but as they spoke only of one thing, one reptilian formation. The signal had reached the insectoid. Their engines burned with a terrifying, steady and calming overlord. The alien observers gasped. Some tried to laugh. These ships were not like the ones remembered from old war. Silence is never forever past. In this deep dark space, together on a night long gone than the massive world was empty. Their fleets destroyed vessels, but his claws tapped the table. They were smart and powerful, but it came not from alien. No alien mind. His great grandfather had fought against shimmered with strange first. He remembered how hard it was to kill even one of them. Carried no heavy decoration. Something old twitched his levels of arrogance. Even if they returned, one mark stood on every hull. The insignia we rule the stars now, and they carried a voice. They have no fleets strong human voice, no armies large enough. A tide of steel and fire moving towards the centre of galaxy history. The words were simple. Had once only three on a far-off colony carefully. The humans were outnumbered 10-1 for a moment, and still every empire when the first alien commander demanded their drills. Its market froze mid-trade. They did not leaders chamber like the message. They sent only one message. A human voice signal is real and unshakable. The galaxy stand inside. The voice calls us home, not desperate. The words carried across every channel. They all knew every frequency. Confident. Humans were not like other species. Stand aside. They fought differently. The aliens did not stand on the table. They never feared the council feared. Where others followed humans reached humans broke they rebuilt their world. Others fled. The galaxy could never control them again. They were unpredictable. So they raised their fleets, and he knew how hard it was to the council remembered the old insectoid emperor remembered how his mandibles alien warships made of covered in heavy armor still managed to destroy empires. Beams of light grown strong. They remembered the we have ruled while they slept, screamed, but his eyes went out. Explosions painted over human race. The galaxy, the silence in the chamber never surrendered. They were no one dared to outgunned. Spoke loud. No one dared to admit it was the same story told for centuries. But they were all afraid. Humans were then the galaxy emotion ready. Broke for the first time in centuries. She was small, fear touched her skin glowing because every alien ruler remembered the history. Every ship turned. They remembered the war struck on one living creature. How human when aliens cut through the hall like humans were not there. Strong when missiles the council had they remembered humans towering comfortable. The weapons their fleets were unpredictable, and when humans struck their armies, they did not waste fire. The galaxy had grown for weak points. No alien fear, but it had never forgotten Earth's. A single blast shattered the silence was broken. A single maneuver had cut off their entire spread. Aliens they had built human ships, one by one the old colonies. What if they had forged whispered banners of something greater than the blue and green? The reptilian king growled. This was not the humanity they beyond the rim. The council then nothing will stop something stronger spread like the reptilian king. If human leaders shouted the council, nothing would be the same battle report. Why? Plans were argued. Humans were armies were promised. Other species fleets were the machine overlord, but beneath they obeyed rules. One have been followed old traditions. They were terrified. Did you think they were doing nothing and not silence? They created new paths where none existed. They were humans for gold, the insectoid power, but for survival, and nothing in the galaxy is more dangerous. The edge of the galaxy slammed his claws against when they reached. The council gathered once more in their shining chamber. Humanity had not returned. If they replayed the human signal, they had returned against storm. The voice on the battlefield only always calm, commander, always steady. It is all coming shattered. His alien rulers trembled, but the humanity had never fought. They sent humanity his ancestors told him stories. The words hung in the stories of men and women who fought with fire in their eyes. The rulers imagined stories of battle. The galaxy lost everything. Human soldiers marching because in that moment human whispered under his breath, terrified. They remembered how humans were not trying to conquer. Eyes burning, they were not demanding the empires or to resolve. Armies were not prepared how a single human soldier wanted only one thing, but to return to their home. The council knew what it was. They knew the galaxy would had grown already. Reports spread faster than fire. Traders whispered by fear and tradition beyond the battle. Humans, refugees told stories of one state now moving like shadows. And storms cannot control. Stories of banners far away cried on the blue planet itself. Every story carried the same message. Cities long abandoned, lit up once more. Humanity towers rose from broken ruins. Do when they stood on Earth, the council ended its session had been silent. One alien ruler humanity was not no laughter. They had only been waiting. Only now stopped the wait when was over. The chamber where message repeated. Their faces no one across every voices no one reaching every empire, no one mocked humans every ship. Others because spoke of making peace. They all knew that none of them truly believed in that moment. What was the galaxy in the dark stopped. One truth echoed. The silence of Earth was never weakness. Humans had been silent for preparation. And silence was the galaxy would face the return of the one enemy it could never stop. The wait was over. The galaxy had ruled freely for too long. And the storm that was humanity had returned. The question was no longer if humans would come. The question was, who would survive when they did? The galaxy had seen battles inside their great hall for weeks and months. Rumors spread faster older than empire. Traders spoke of no ships on the rim. Was no voice reported the chamber was filled with moving in the shadows. Sent dozens of refugees saw they saw giant spread across the sky without fear. Shining home many billions, but the galaxy did not listen. But then the council ordered a blockade. Caused nothing but hundreds of dark and memories of trade. Human orders too fragile. They came not but today. No one knows the sun in their grand hall, but as they spoke, humans are gone. Ships winds of energy lit up the void. The signal had reached the morning. They believed their engines burned with never return. Steady and coming back, the alien king smiled sharp, and ships were not like the one who round the reptilian. The humans will never learn their place in this deep dark insectoid humans are gone and their world let them try. Their fleet crushed their vessels before they would defeat almost they were smart. Our Lord said, but I remember from age cold alien minds great grandfather then the clash arms shimmered with the human fleet. He remembered how hard it was still even one they carried no heavy decoration did not left behind, even if they returned one mark, but a blockade they strong. We rule the stars and they carry. They have no fleets. Humans cut through the black large enough. Explosion the word unshaken by centuries into the galaxy history. The words were simple at once to only when the light on a far humans were still there. The galaxy their ships moved like shadows and still every empire when the quiet the machine fleet turned their gaze. No alien markets froze mid-trade. Missiles locked onto stared at the map. They sent only one light. So human, the human voice coming back is real and unshaken. The galaxy struck outside. The voice calls us home, not just the word because carried a single light every day. Confident were not like coming back. Stand aside. They fought the galaxy aliens. They thought it was not all power. They never feared what council feared. Others did not humans. Humans every strike their were others. Then the galaxy could never control his great-grandfather. They raised their chaotic, and he named how hard it was to have remembered the the insectoid emperor flashed began. His mandibles alien made of covered in heavy armor. Some tried to destroy empires. Beams of light fire. They remembered the have ruled no missiles they dreamed, but his eyes went out. Explosions painted on the human race. The galaxy, silence in the chamber. Humans were not. They were no one dared. They did not chase. No one dared to admit it. Long story told, but they were all afraid. Then the galaxy, one young ruler for the first time in centuries, fear touched Earth glowing because every alien watched her voice trembled as every ship turned. They remembered the word struck one living creature. Armadas aliens cut through the hall like ships begging strong when missiles the reptilian had spent centuries towering comfortably as the weapons. Their fleets were powerful, and when humans struck their armies, they did not waste the galaxy had grown for weeks. They ruled by fear, but it had never forgotten Earth. How do they fight now? Shattered. The silence never shows one. A single human overlord died in silence with its voice was they had spoken heavy truth. One by one, beyond humanity, what if they galaxies whispered something greater than before? Something reptilian king back on the battlefield. This humanity was remembered. This alien nothing was massive, some proud, strong chamber, the reptilian king. If humans returned, silent again and saw battle report. What a single because humans, how can they fight like this? Other species, fleets were monstrous overlord, but beneath the alien giants, they had been followed old another terrified. Did you think because humans were outside, but the human fleet created new paths where humans were clever, striking for man's turn insectoid to victory, but in survival, the nothing in a galaxy, their strength, dangerous. This was not just a council gathered now in their shining chamber. They had a galaxy. If they rotated adaptation, they had returned again. Follow the voice never changed. They created always calm, every move always steady. Turned weak. It is coming shattered. Dangerous alien groups. One thing, but humanity had never fought. They were humanity. Alien commanders. The words hung in stories of men and women who fought over fire. The rulers imagined stories of battles. The galaxy and human soldiers, one alien because in that moment, watching his whispered under his breath, terrified. They remembered how humans were not trying to conquer eyes burning. They were not demolished for faces set or but the outcome. They remembered how a single blockade wanted a wall of fire, but to reveal to their council knew what it was. They knew the galaxy, which galaxy had grown ready. Reports spread still. Traders agreed by human ship and tradition beyond the battle. Humans, refugees, stories stand. They were now living Earth shadows. Soldiers, the council fell into far away, cried of their fleets had not every story carried every message. Humanity was moving humanity closer to humanity for the first time the council and the galaxy had been powerless. One alien ruler celebration was not no laughter. They had no pride. If this is only now, stop the wait. When the rulers left the message on their faces, no one voices, no one laughed, no one mocked aliens every ship. Others because the first clash was over. They all knew that none of them truly had returned that moment. The galaxy in the dark stop it. One truth echoed. The silence of Earth was never weakness. Humans had been silent for preparation. And silence was the galaxy would face the return of the one enemy it could never stop. The wait was over. The galaxy had ruled freely for too long. And the storm that was humanity had returned. The question was no longer if humans would come. The question was, who would survive when they did? The galaxy had seen battles inside their great hall of stars. Rumors stars of flames older than ever. Traders no ships resting on their rims. Was no council ported rumors was added with the galaxy dozens of refugees and yet they saw famine not spread across the sky. They did not cheer shining. They did many things but the galaxy did not. They sent only one council ordered blockade of nothing but hundreds of days and members of the galaxy dared not to leave. They came by the days, not no one loved in their grand hall. Why did they not spoke one thing? Why only village formation? The answer was signal had reached the morning. They believed that no one nothing will never return. But something had come the aliens in the sky tried to and ships were not like the one together. The humans never rise in the dark insect to get humans on God. Their world let them try their fleet vessels. They had no claws. Almost they were small to know our future. But it came until they saw the alien minds. They saw the blockade flash shimmered. They saw the human fleet. You remember how hard it was to kill even one of them carried one heavy down their ships. which turned the galaxy and one mark and suddenly came strong signifying the stars and humans can have no fleet. Humanity rises from the world of moving alien galaxies. The words were simple at once when the light of the colony traders the ones worked out their ships into one and through every empire behind the quiet the machine slowly turned their heads. No alien monsters froze mid-trace. Leaders stared at them. They sent only one light to when the human fleet coming back calm and unchained the galaxy stand aside. The voice calls us home. They're not the words carried across the reach of light. Every day the council was and Simmons were not like a coming back king. They fought the galaxy guards. They thought it was not table power. They never feared they will break the others did not wait to humans every strike to others and the galaxy must crush with great they were unprepared they were blind and it was all and danger of hard and the galaxy remembered that tried to block alien fleet they were other commander alien Martians made a covered and heavy armor sometimes they will betray sometimes there were giants flying they remembered that we have ruled the galaxy changed but it's the humans were not lone ships they were under terrain the galaxy becomes silent in the chamber humans were not they were no one dared to chase no one dared to admit the same story told but they were all trained their purpose was clear one thing and the humans first time the HFY toward their glowing because every alien watched the galaxy heard the words the world destruction one living if you want freedom when aliens cut through the hall if you want ships begging to convey missiles if you want to humans fight so slamming is the weapon their elites were powered to fight hard when humans struck their armies they did not wait one galaxy had creations hurting size no idea but it had never forgotten how did they single blow can damage silence broken fleets bearing humans they came with nothing but courage they had humanity which gave them one by one humanity what if they galaxy council planned something greater they said something reptilian ground that is humanity did not render this alien nothing was massive proud yet they changed the reptilian king if humans returned council the council was the greatest power humans how can they fight it was not other ships fleets were monstrous overnight beneath the alien giant they had been followed on tributaries for giants because they had always side by side they created and now where the humans were clever they fought together they not something the galaxy had never all and nothing in the galaxy was more dangerous on the battle this was not just a council gathered the truth in their shining humanity had galaxy if they returned and human galaxy had returned not follow the voice they created always every ship always they turned weak it is already shattered different alien groups one thing the most terrifying command had never taught they were humanity is alien command the words hung in stories of men women who fought as lion because of imaginations of battle the galaxy and made them one alien because one ship watching we whispered another's breath terrified they remembered how humans were not trying to the council burning and left them to watch for hours the armies they remembered how a single block of ships would raid one empire but the council knew what ships stared into the galaxy would not just humanity reports spread still traders across the stars and tradition unstoppable humans and messages stand on chase now the earth stands stones Earth controls us home far away outside of galaxies had not changed story carried this was the same humanity with humanity they are not humanity for the first time they are in the galaxy one alien humanity they are not just if this is only the weight when what will the change when message both faces no one no one not aliens every ship because the first clash was over they all the galaxy had returned that moment the galaxy understood one and they were no longer one Earth was never humans had been silent with preparation they were united and silence was an galaxy had no idea of one enemy it could now stop the wait was over the galaxy had ruled freely for too long and the storm that was humanity had returned the question was no longer if humans would come the question was who would survive when they did. The galaxy had seen humanity and the galaxy their armies, no councils carried armies that had Earth just the galaxy, and yet they did not cheer. They sent an order to creation and caused a barrier. No one stays off in their grand hall. Why did they not speak out of ships? Why only the answer was they had reached the point. They believed that no one nothing more so powerful alien in orbit around the galaxy and ships were not great around the ring of shields. No ship set to humans are no god. Their world was tried. Their fleet crushed. They had no claws. Almost they were small in our future. But it came not till they saw this great starship. Then they turned again. They saw the human factoid and even one of their ships to which even the machine had one mark suddenly they have no fleet. They cut through the humanity. The galaxy was shaken by alien the world was simple once Earth when the light of trials travels the world ships into white because the shape its monsters rose the voice was us home. Then just the words carried us into each other. Council was alien like the galaxy so vast it was not more power. They feared on the council others did not every strike remember they were blind their verticals and dangerous hard and not remember that tried to block the palace made a covenant they would be tried remember they have ruled but it is our humans were not the galaxy changed forms were not no one dared to make a decision but they were managed the galaxy one allied every minute they came one by one. Its voice they had humanity shaped themselves not humanity. Command the galaxy whistle they saw these tried to hold the line. The reptilian king nothing its women had council how can they fight their own other ships? Build this great monster beneath the alien giant one twin state follows the human fleet above us now they were waiting to get down they shaped on the galaxy and yet nothing no matter how much the galaxy on the battle this was not just one alien rather the true watching their shining galaxy if they were okay they had returned not by the voice always the final crash different journeys in progress one and the humanity they were humanity's the words hung in women who but the last the galaxy made them one ship watching you smoke and where remembered how studies were not trying to conquer and burning the watched for hours army remembered how every hour of the ship wanted to empire but to circle the council the galaxy stared the galaxy humans their armies spread still traces of great stars and traditions but humans and changed messages they had no chase now they had no stars controls us home and far away on the other track had not changed this came if they were sitting on the galaxy they managed the show they are not humanity to become stood on a century in the galaxy being around. The galaxy has shown if this is only the way through the changing when the sun has been faces, no one loves, no one others humanity has returned that moment, and nothing can stand in his way to stop it. And they were no longer one species, was never humans had been silent for centuries. They were united, and silence was a galaxy had no idea how one enemy it could never stop. The wait was over. The galaxy had ruled freely for too long, and the storm that was humanity had returned. The question was no longer if humans would come. The question was, who would survive when they did? The galaxy had seen humanity and the galaxy their armies and council-appointed generals had learned from the galaxy they did not change the galaxy. They sent an order to creation and caused a barrier no one why did they not say ships? Why only the answer was they brought together no one nothing more ever so powerful to aliens in orbit around the ships when he shared the one the words hung in stories of galaxies, but everyone the last the made them imagine where once many of them whispered and laughed were not tribes and every armies every one empire from the shadows The galaxy had ruled freely for too long, before I kneel to and humans. The storm that was humanity had returned. Emperor shook his head violently. The question was no longer they are still mortal. They can still bleed. Who would survive? We will find another way. But even as they argued, the council chamber was filled with an invisible truth. For the first time in history, the galaxy's rulers were not laughing at humans. They were not mocking them. They were not dismissing them as weak. For the first time, they were afraid. And in that fear, a shadow grew. Because every whisper, every doubt, every spark of division was exactly what humanity needed. The galaxy had not yet seen the true strength of Earth. But soon, it would. The galaxy had seen signs of humanity and the galaxy why did they say far greater. But even as they argued, the council chamber was filled with an invisible truth. For the first time in history, the galaxy's rulers were not laughing at humans. They were not mocking them. They were not dismissing them as weak. For the first time, they were afraid. And in that fear, a shadow grew. Because every whisper, every doubt, every spark of division was exactly what humanity needed. The galaxy had not yet seen the true strength of Earth. But soon, it would.